So, I trust we are all familiar with Vampire Survivors. For those of you who are not, it is a game where you control a little hero in the center of the screen, and hordes of enemies charge in from the side to attack you in this sort of continuing swarm of bad guys, and you kill them all off and slowly gain experience and things like that as they come in, and that way you upgrade your weapons so you match the fact that they are coming in with tougher enemies and sort of faster and with their own sort of upgrades that are managed by the computer. And it is a very, very competitive game. It's a very fun game. It's kind of like a blend between a bullet hell and an RPG almost. Not too much of an RPG element other than the upgrading of your character. But you have to run around the screen and dodge all the enemies and fire furiously at them depending on what kind of weapons you've managed to upgrade to. Great game. Hell of a lot of fun. There are some variants of it. I quite like the HoloLive variant. I think it's called something like HoloCure. And it is a very, very good implementation of the Vampire Survivors game. I do recommend that. However, what I have not seen, which is something that usually happens with popular games, is the variants where you are playing as the bad guy. So you are now the one managing the swarms that come in from the side, and you are fighting against the hero that is running around in the middle. It's quite common for popular games to have these sort of variants made of them, and I'm glad to see this is happening with Vampire Survivors, or Vampire Survivors-like games. So what has happened here is this developer, Kason41 at gmail.com, I'm not doxing him, that's his actual name on itch.io, has created Reverse Survivors. So yeah, we are the one trying to take out the survivor, not the actual survivor in the middle. And that's really interesting and becomes a very, very interesting management game. It is very much a prototype, kind of a little bit of bait dangled in the water to see how much interest people have in it before he takes it any further. I am hoping this video counts as significant interest. I would like to see this taken further. And I'm going to just show off a little bit of the gameplay, a little bit of how he's implemented this idea, and talk a little bit about our own ideas for it. So let's jump in. Link will be in the description if you want to jump in as well, and see what this game presents to us, and then give it a little bit of, not really our usual critique, but a little bit of thinking about what we could maybe change to see this taken further. Right, run game. Let's talk about the sort of UI to start off with. So this is the enemy in the middle. These are our friends coming in from the sides to attack the enemy, and he's firing those swords at them. And yeah, we're trying to get rid of this little guy. We have our own mana coming in, and this is what we use to upgrade the enemies as we're attacking. Up in the top right, you can see the spawn rate of our mobs, the spawn health. I just want to spend something here just to get us going a little bit quicker later. So yeah, we have the spawn rate of our mobs, the spawn health that our mobs have, the speed at which they run at towards the enemy, and the rate that our mana is coming in. So boost that again as well. Okay, down at the bottom, we have the kind of enemies that we're spawning. I've selected bats, it didn't change anything, so I'm not sure if that's working or not yet. We have the ability to spawn in a certain number of them, so kind of just boost the spawn rate. I just want to upgrade these just to show us the game progression a little bit while we're about it. Yeah, so we can spawn for 2.5 mana points. We can make like a surge of enemies coming in. So if we sort of just hit this quickly, we now have a huge swarm that's coming in that might have actually won us the game. On the right here, we have upgrades that we can choose. So we can choose how fast we are spawning enemies, the health that our enemies spawn with, the speed that they run at, and then the rate at which our own mana generates. Kind of like an incremental game. We can upgrade these things as we go on. Let's just sink some points into these. Basically, he is upgrading slowly, and we have to upgrade ourselves to exceed the curve that he's upgrading with. He's already doing quite well, so it is a bit tricky to catch up to him now. Let's just boost our mana generation. Spawn rate, monster health, and monster speed. Now, obviously, this isn't very, very well balanced yet. We can't just massively override him fairly easily, like I have done here, just by boosting our mana income. And we're going to beat him just now, right? And then we're able to restart the game, and there will be two heroes now that we have to beat, and it's through the same process. Just make sure that our mana is generating quite quickly, then sort of continually upgrade the monsters until they come in. And that's all the gameplay I'm going to show, because that's all the gameplay that's really there in this prototype. And I think it is quite fun to play with for a few minutes, just to see if you can kind of judge the rate of upgrading and exceed the hero's rate of leveling. And that's really what a game like this comes down to. It's those two mathematical curves that you're trying to make yours exceed theirs. And that's kind of the mathematics of the game in a nutshell. But it is a lot of fun. It is quite interesting to do. I like the way he has presented this, even just as a prototype. And I think it's a good game type. I think it's an interesting game that needs to be supported. So if you are here just for the gameplay, please come and give this game a try out. The link will be in the description. Leave him some comments on itch.io. Leave me some comments on YouTube. Let us both know how you think this game is going to change. And I look forward to doing a future video on the future version of this game. Talking about the changes and giving some more critique at that time. I would love to do that. I really hope that is in my future. You guys leave comments for both of us if you think that would also be a good thing. Otherwise, thank you for watching. If you're just here for the gameplay. If you're here for my first initial suggestions, then just stick around. And don't forget to like if you're liking this video. Don't forget to leave those comments, because I think it's important that we get the player base to make their suggestions, bring their inputs in. And if you want to see me make more videos showcasing more games, just hit that subscribe button, because I would love to see you in the next video. Alright, if you are here for the critiques. Okay, the first thing is, I think this UI needs quite a major change. It was fine for the prototype, but I think these buttons shouldn't be hidden behind a drop down. This was very, very awkward to do. I think these should be 4 separate buttons. I think I'm normally a fan on minimalist UIs. I think the more information you can hide away behind drop downs and things like that, the better, because it is always important to give your players a lot of information, but it should not be in their faces at all times, because the busier a UI is, the more the brain has to sit and recognize what information it doesn't need to look at. So it's, everything that hits your eyes, your brain is thinking about a little bit. And there's like a sort of a filter that sort of says you don't need to think about this kind of stuff, ignore that. But that filter processing that information still takes brain power. So if you live in a cluttered environment, you are tiring yourself out without realizing it, because your brain is constantly sitting there and hiding all of that clutter and sort of ignoring it so that you can think about the things that you need to think about. But that first layer is still takes processing power. So the quieter and calmer you can make your space, the better it is for your personal energy and your personal comfort. And this, the same is true for sort of game UIs. Is I normally strongly recommend hiding information, but don't make it hard to get to. Don't make it multiple clicks to get to that info. Just make it something that can pop out at the click of a button, or even just a mouse over, so that the user can choose to see that information whenever he wants to, but he has to think about the information and choose to see it. That's my usual recommendation for UIs. But in this case, I think you can afford to put a bit more info here, because this is quite a fast-paced management game. So I'm thinking you need a panel on the side that tells you about the hero. What is the hero's health? What is his weapons? Blah blah blah. As the hero becomes more sophisticated in future versions of the game, I think it's only fair to have the info here to tell us how the hero is doing and what he's doing and things like that. I think that would make it a very interesting element of the game, sort of know your enemy, as it were, and have this whole panel down the side saying this is the hero's info, and then obviously this whole panel down the side saying this is your info, here are your upgrade buttons. Put the mana at the top rather than the bottom. I think the mana would be kind of easier to see and more comfortable to see at the top. Yeah, and I suppose shape your player UI almost like an incremental. This is kind of an idle incremental, but a much more active one with a much more interesting kind of gameplay view in the background. Maybe that's why I like it so much, because I can sense that idle incremental gameplay mechanics sitting there, waiting to be utilized. So yeah, that would be my suggestion for the UI changes: is turn these buttons into a big box with this information at the top of it and more info. The more info, the better, that you can channel in here. And in fact, the biggest one would be to make it so that the player can change what is shown on this UI, so you can hide the things that he decides he doesn't need to see, and show the things that he does permanently on the screen. So you would have to give it like in sort of Windows and the like, a little panel that sort of pops down and says these are the things that you can show, these are the things that you can hide, and you can tick them and untick them to add them to the panel. That would be my first kind of taking it from prototype critique, is change this UI completely to make it more comfortable to use. You're aiming for comfort here, comfort over sort of minimalism, even though I am a massive fan of minimalism. And the second critique is just the sounds. I think this game will struggle or flourish based on how compelling you can make the sounds. So make them chunky, make them bassy, make them satisfying, viscerally meaningful. Give the hero weaponry that makes explosion noises, and make them go boom boom, deep rumbly explosion noises, or something like that. I don't know. Give us as the sort of the bad guy. Give us the ability to click on somewhere on the field and have a sort of a pulsed attack. So this circle appears where the attack's going to be, and the sort of the AI for the hero tries to get him out of that circle before the explosion comes down and goes boom boom, and make that a deep, good sounding effect, something along those lines. You really need to focus on sounds to make this one stand out and be an interesting game. Artwork, I mean, again, it's a prototype, but this art is absolutely fine. We've got a nice, interesting field in the background. We've got cute little zombie characters. I don't think the bats worked particularly. I was trying to make bats spawn, but I didn't see any changes in the mob, so maybe I'm just blind, or maybe that bit isn't implemented properly. I don't know. Something worth looking at. Otherwise, I think this game design is really, really interesting. I do recommend adding some lore elements where you're sort of talking about how we need to be an anti-hero, not just the villain. I think to make this universally popular, we need to treat it so that the heroes are kind of like Homelander. They, from The Boys, they look noble and heroic, but you very, very quickly see that they're actually not good. We're a simple necromancer with a few zombies that are okay for us to have summoned, but these heroes keep coming and attacking us, so now we're fighting to defend ourselves or something like that by trying to swarm these kind of false nobles that are the heroes. I don't know, something along those lines, something to justify a flag that we can rally behind and enjoy the game. I'm going to stop rabbiting on it. This game has inspired all sorts of thoughts and design ideas in my head. And obviously it's not my game. I can't pressure the hero into making my game. But these are just my suggestions to make this game a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more compelling to the player. And I really want to see it take off, and I really want to play it, and I really want to do a future video on it. So, looking forward to that future video, and looking forward to you guys all joining me in future videos. And thank you for watching, and I really hope to see you guys again soon. And goodbye.